So my objective in this is, I'm not hiding it, is, as I said, I want to guide. I want to be known and perceived as an expert in digital transformation for small and medium-sized businesses.
So I'm 100% with you. I'm mainly focused on AI. So I love AI. I love the development that we are seeing in the world with AI. And I would love to share that with our audience. And that would be our perhaps main purpose of the podcast.
We want to talk about AI, machine learning, could be AR, VR, anything about technology in general, and try to demystify the emerging technologies, the new one.
When I saw some of my colleagues and friends having some trouble with the technology, I was just for fun sharing my knowledge, teaching them a little bit about it. And one of my friends told me, hey, you know what? You are a pretty good teacher.
Hey Mo, how are you today? That's a very, very exciting day.
It's a beautiful day to be alive. What about you, Steve? How are you?
I'm very excited to start the podcast with you, my friend. We know each other for not a long time, but just enough to know that we are alike, not in the same generation, but we are alike in our lives.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And today we have an amazing podcast for our audience. Steve, tell us a little bit about the podcast.
Yeah, I think we just we need to follow the why, who, what, how, and when this podcast is going to be done. So we won't have the, I would say, the typical content we will have in the future, but today it's about the podcast itself and us and how it's going to happen. So let's start with the why. And the why is really, you and I we were talking about that, and on my mission to help many SMBs in my professional life, you came up with the idea of coming with a podcast and say, hey, you and I, we can talk about bridging the gap between the technology and the business owners. So we know that the technologists, they speak a certain language that is not totally understood by the business owners. And the same thing for business owners. They speak like admin stuff, profits, revenues, top line, and all these things. And bridging a gap is very important because those business owners, they need to learn more. They need to understand more about what it is and what is possible in the market with the technology. And the technologists also, they should follow this podcast because they need to learn about business, because the technology has to be aligned with the business. And that's pretty much why most of the tech projects fail, because there is no alignment between business goals and the tech projects. So it comes down to losing money on many tech projects. What about you? What's your
Absolutely.
why for this podcast?
Yeah, for me, it's basically the same. I'm synchronized with you. So the same purpose, if you will. I want to help entrepreneurs and small businesses understand the technologies that are available in the marketplace so they can use them, they can leverage them. Technology is a beautiful, powerful tool. And if entrepreneurs and small businesses can leverage it, they can perhaps gain an advantage that they wouldn't have otherwise. So the goal and the idea is to simplify these concepts, these tools, and share with our audience some of the available tools. It's always a good idea to show people the options. You know what? These are the options that you can pick from. What do you think about them? And show them the advantages and the disadvantages of each one of these tools so they can use them in their businesses. And I agree with you, Steve, 100%. I think without that look, without that deep analysis of the tools that are available in the marketplace, a lot of small businesses are lost, if you will, are a little bit looking at technology as this magical tool that can change their life. But the idea is picking the right technology and using it for your purpose. That's gonna make a difference. So I'm 100% with you. I'm mainly focused on AI. So I love AI. I love the development that we are seeing in the world with AI. And I would love to share that with our audience. And that would be our perhaps main purpose of the podcast. Maybe it's a really good idea to follow up with this question, Steve. So, what do you think our audience should expect in the next few episodes?
Yeah, that's a great question. But before diving there, I'd like to add that on my side, we have the why, but I'm reading a lot of books on different topics like business, health, and personal development. And one of them, or I should say several of them, we're talking about if you have a kind of a superpower or something that can help other people, you should commit to deliver it and bring this value to them. And my mission is really to guide as many entrepreneurs as possible with
Mhm.
that podcast, with the YouTube channels, Instagram, LinkedIn, and all these things that we're going to talk about and leave that in the show notes. But this is my mission, Mo. This is what I want to do. And I'm glad that we are doing that together. So, in terms of the format of the podcast, we want to talk about AI, machine learning, could be AR, VR, anything about
Mm.
technology in general, and try to demystify the emerging technologies, the new ones. I mean, AI is everywhere, but it's not everything that's good about it. And we'll be also as practical as possible. Yes, we'll talk about
Mm.
concepts, but how to apply those concepts in the real life, in the real business life. And you, Mo, you are teaching a lot of people. You're teaching in big corporate organizations of this world through different
Yep.
platforms. So you are going to bring a lot of nice knowledge for those entrepreneurs.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Steve. And I think maybe this is a really good, perhaps, idea to share a little bit about us, our background, to give the listeners an idea of what they should expect and why we are the perfect fit to share the knowledge with them. So perhaps, Steve, take the lead. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Steve?
So I'm a
All right.
serial entrepreneur for a long, long time, almost or around 25 years. 30
Mm-hmm.
years as an engineer because I started as being an electrical engineer. So I always evolve in the tech world. I did also got two masters, masters in project management and another one in an MBA, like in business administration.
Mm.
The goal was
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to be better at managing projects as an engineer, and eventually I wanted to start my businesses, which I did. I co-founded several businesses. This is where I learned the most, by the way. My best school as being in the field as a business person, working with people 15 years older than I was at that time, and
Wow.
learned a lot from them. So that has been my big school. So school is good, but here we're going to show practical tips that the school is not showing up, even the big ones. When I sold one of the business that I spent 10 years, when I sold it, I decided to jump as a consultant. So I've been a virtual CIO for many organizations, focusing on
Mm.
all the aspects. And as an entrepreneur, as we all know, and as a virtual CIO working with technology, technology is everywhere. So I was, and I'm still doing it, I'm trying to help and put myself in the shoes of each roles within the organization. So that helps to understand the overview, the overall
Mm.
organization, and optimizing it. So, I mean, I like to claim that my superpower is simplifying complex things and concepts and bring them to everybody or almost everybody and make
True.
practical and good processes fully optimized to help any businesses from any market. So my objective in this is I'm not hiding it. Is as I said, I want to guide. So I want to be known and perceived as an expert in digital transformation for small and medium sized businesses.
Mhm.
What about you?
Mhm.
What about you, Mo?
Wow, that's an amazing introduction, Steve. And yeah, I think my introduction goes hand in hand with yours. So mainly I have a bachelor degrees in finance, and computer science, and also a master's in information systems. And I saw technology as this beautiful universe that enables people to dream. I saw so many companies growing up that were able to connect people, were able to create new tools and technologies to make learning easy, to make driving easy, to make life easy. And for me, I was always interested into how can the digital world be used in order to simplify the population's life and make it super easy. That's why I was drawn to technology from a very young age. I started programming at the age of 12 years old. I started doing some HTML code, some PHP code, and I just loved it. I just felt this connection to it. I just felt it speaking to me, and it was never something that was hard or difficult or complicated. It just made sense. When I saw some of my colleagues and friends having some trouble with the technology, I was just for fun sharing my knowledge, teaching them a little bit about it. And one of my friends told me, "Hey, you know what? You are a pretty good teacher. You know how to teach. You have a lot of energy. You have a little bit of charisma. You're funny. You can do so many things." And I was like, maybe that's my path in life. My path in life is to teach technology, to showcase that these complicated concepts or these perhaps frameworks and infrastructures are not that complicated. They are developed by people like us, and they are there for the taking if we can understand them and if we can use them and if we can leverage them correctly. So I always find it super rewarding to get that aha moment from different people when they like, oh, I get it now. It makes sense. So that's why I'm doing currently technical training, teaching some of the biggest companies in the world about AI, about data analytics, about generative AI, microservices, integrated infrastructure, IoT. So diving into some of the complicated concepts and making sure to remove that ambiguity, if you will, that extra layer of complexity that was there by nature. If you open documentation of a tool, most of the time that documentation is going to be cryptic. It's going to be a little bit intimidating. I remove, my job is to remove that complexity and just look at the core concept. What does the tool do, and how can we leverage it in my business, in your projects, in your daily lives, and use it because it's like perhaps a car that will take you from point A to point B. So my job is to make it easy for anybody and everybody to use technology for their daily lives, and make it super super exciting for them to use it. And especially with today's world, as you can see, Steve, most people are currently thinking about AI technologies, investing. Do it because it fits the business model, do it because it fits your company, and do it because it makes sense from a business, financial, or of course, a technological perspective. That's why we are perhaps a great perhaps a fit for this podcast to share with our audience the power of technology and the why behind some of the most amazing tools available in the marketplace. And this is a really perhaps a good idea to share with our audience what should they expect in terms of the next episodes. Are we going to have some expert interviews? Are we going to cover some tools? Or are we just going to go with the flow and see what happens?
So that's interesting because you know pretty much the answer. So that's cute. No, but before even going there, I like the fact that I mean you are really you have master's degree as well, and you have the coming from the education. You are a younger entrepreneur than I am, but I think it's going to be great to have this because I'm a firm believer in education for many things but to make it
Mm,
practical as much as possible. So, and you too, because you did some programming, you're teaching, you have your own companies as well. So, I mean,
yeah.
that's what we want to do. We want to chat and see how you see things, how I'm going to see things. So, I see that fit as something interesting. This is why we started. So, in terms of the format and everything, we'll go with the flow because it's unplugged entrepreneurs. That's part of the title. 20
Yeah.
minutes to 30 minutes. I guess with interviews, it's going to be very interesting to learn more about them. So we can go up to 45. A discussion like this about a topic between you and I and our experiences and our stories, and
Mhm.
talking about what we did and what should be done based on our experiences. The second
Yeah.
one is, as I alluded to it, is to bring an expert and an entrepreneur like you and I and our audience, and learn from that person and see how their tech projects went or went well or not well, and what should have been improved. And we can give tips to that entrepreneur if without any pretension, and it can help us to understand more how it can be done. And I'm sure that some people in our audience will feel that, hey, this is exactly what I live because I see it quite often in my everyday lives. And the third
Mhm.
one is we'll dive into a tool or a set of tools that are similar and talk about them more specifically. Is it a good tool? Is it a bad tool? Is it something that should be done this way and why? Because most of the tools, most of the companies, they claim like they can do a zillions of features, but
Mm,
usually if you look
mm.
at the core, you can trim the rest and use another tool, like we did for that thing that we are recording in Zoom and using another tool to edit. That we
Yeah.
just figured that out. So that's going to be interesting. So maybe I can turn you back the question about when we are going to be out there and ready for our followers and subscribers to watch us and listen to us.
Yes, so the idea here is that we are going to be publishing on a weekly basis, and we're going to be putting episodes out there in the best or perhaps the most popular podcast outlets and communication channels in the marketplace. And during all our publication, we're going to have a description about the episode and about the guest, and also about some products and services that we're going to be offering throughout perhaps each one of our episodes. So the idea and the goal is to provide knowledge and also to provide a path for anybody out there in the marketplace who is looking to connect with us, who's looking to understand more. They have an idea, they have a question that they did not get the answer of during the episode, and Steve and I will try to answer that question and give you as much value as possible during that entire conversation. So this is going to be a weekly episode formatted podcast, and we're going to try to publish every Monday, I believe, Steve, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, every Monday we're going to publish it and be ready to share the value. And as we said at the beginning about the why, we are on a mission to guide entrepreneurs with our knowledge, our experience. We don't know everything in business. We don't know everything in tech, but we claim we can help each other as a community, as a tribe, to be successful with our tech
True.
projects. And
Mhm.
I'm working on different things with you, Mo, and with other people to bring an ecosystem of different resources, especially a course that we're working together. We'll talk about that in our future episodes and try to stick as being on that mission to help. So please, I shouldn't say please, but subscribe to this channel because we're going to bring value to you and your business will thrive. We'll automate certain process with you and you'll do that on your side. We'll guide you on how to do that. And eventually, as the person, as an individual, you'll gain some time back to you and your family and you'll enjoy while doing great with your businesses.
Absolutely, Steve. And I always wanted to say subscribe, share, comment, click on the like button if you like what you hear.
Good. Thanks, Mo, and see you on the next
Thank you.
episode.
See you on the next one. Have a great week.